Welcome back to the Reseller Journey Podcast, where we help other resellers get some strategies and tips for helping you go further faster along your reseller journey. And in this video, get your popcorn ready. We got Sean Taylor with Taylor Exchange, a full-time clothing reseller, teaching us some tips and strategies that he's using in his business to help you along your reseller journey. So let's not waste any more time and bring him on and see what he has to say.
Hey, what's up, bro? How's it going?
Hey,
what's up, everybody?
Good. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate your time. Great YouTube channel. Really wanted to bring you on for some time now because I think that you could share some tips that maybe you've learned along your journey to really be helpful for maybe some beginners out there that are looking to resell. So let's get right into the questions. What is the thing that you learned in your reselling business that you wish you knew when you first started out?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough because there's a lot of hurdles to overcome.
Yeah.
And a lot of things. I guess the best way I can answer this is from the questions I've gotten from my new viewers, because a lot of them are starting out like I was.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick like one thing about a strategy that I wish I had, or like a tip or like some advice, I think it would be to not give up on yourself and to not try to copy others so closely. Like everybody learns differently, and some people can take information from others, like brand list or percentages and sell through rate, and others like myself, I had to look all that stuff up one by one, the brand, the size, the style, the color, and until I got a grasp of what was selling, I really wasn't able to do it. But the one thing that I guess, yeah, if I wouldn't have wasted as much time trying to follow bolos or follow YouTubers that I enjoyed watching and just focused on myself and what was working, then I think I would have been a little faster to where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So kind of just going into more of your backstory, how long have you been reselling and what initially sparked your interest to get into starting a resale business?
For sure. So I started in fall of 2019. And one of the biggest factors was I did not like my full-time job. I worked as a commercial copier repairman for a small local business. We had hundreds of clients and there was only 2 repairmen, and you have to wear slacks and dress shoes and tuck in a polo. And then you have to wrench on machines and get toner and ink all over your nice clothes. And then you're expected to look clean again. So I knew it wasn't my like path in life. I knew I wanted to do something else, but I was actually, my dad's friend, he was selling on eBay. And he was making 6 figures as a part-time reseller, but he was doing like washers and dryers and much bigger items. But I didn't understand his number. It didn't seem real. I was like, there's no way. Like, he has a full-time job, and he was doing that, and he was making good money. So then I reached out to him. I said, let me like explain the eBay thing to me. And he said, look, just find something, create a page, and when you create the page, let me know, and I'll tell you like how to list it and price it. So I created the page, I set the bank account up and all that, and then I had my Oakley's hard shell case for my sunglasses. And I said, hey, I got this case. He goes, hey, man,
there we go.
He said, what do you want to list it for? I was like, I guess $20 or $25. He goes, no, list it for like $10. So I listed it for $9.99 free shipping. And I got an offer, luckily within 2 hours. And I think that was an important thing. If it would have been 2 days, I might have just quit. But because it happened in 2 hours, I saw instant sale, like instant profit. And it was $4.38 is what I profited. So, and that's when shipping first class was way cheaper. So don't know if you could get that now on a $10 free shipping sale, but you know, 43% profit on that. I was hooked. From then on, I started buying a bunch of stuff that was not sellable. I wasted some money. I learned a lot of hard lessons, but yeah, it having somebody else, and that was kind of before. I guess there was people on YouTube doing it, but talking to somebody who I knew made a big difference because I saw that it was real. Because sometimes it's hard to believe what you see on the internet. And then I stumbled into John Cincinnati Picker and a lot of Josh on YouTube. Really followed them hard, and then some of the bigger ones, and then Daily Refinement, of course, kind of influenced a lot of clothing sellers, and then that's kind of where I fell into. So I would say my dad's friend for sure. His name's Bill, so thank you, Bill. I don't think he'll watch it, but
Bill,
we
are going to shout you out if you ever watch this 10 years from now. Thank you.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Cool. No, that's good. Let's jump into the chat. Brian says, Taylor Exchange, let's get it. Woo. Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
up,
Brian. Thanks for watching. You come in, you show support. Appreciate you. He's trying to get photos done before the live. Hey, got to get stuff done, you know. That's what I was working on.
A lot of people listen
Uh,
too, they listen while people
yeah,
talk. They work
for
while
sure.
work while we talk.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So Marcus says, "My brother, what's up? Hope you're well." Miss Lachey, hi Bo, hi Sean. Two handsome gentlemen for the price of one. Cool beans.
come on,
Nice. Well,
come
thanks,
on, Miss
Miss
Lachey.
Lachey. We
Yeah,
appreciate you. You come in, you show support.
it's
I just
making me
really
blush.
appreciate you.
Make me
Yeah,
blush,
I
Miss
know.
Lachey.
I'm gonna go cry. Stepmo, good morning. What is up? Devin says, tuning in while I prep my clothes for today. Very good. What do you got? What clothes are you prepping? Brian says, yo, yo, yo. Good morning, Sack Taster.
Oh,
Good
geez.
morning. Miss Lachey says, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It is free for 7 days. 7-day free trial. Stepmo says, please click the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys coming in. If you have questions for Sean, please leave them in the comments and he will get to them. So next question, let's jump into it. About how many hours are you putting in a week to run this
Ooh,
resale business? And
yeah,
do you have employees? What does that look like?
yeah. That's a good question. I think a lot of people expect this to be easier than it is. I don't think they understand the amount of hours. So I would say at least 50. I try not to keep track. I work Saturdays, Sundays.
Yeah.
I don't work as heavy on Sundays, especially during football season. Football season in my family is a big deal. So we afternoons is drinking at my dad's, watching the game, barbecuing, whatever. But yeah, let's just run it. I would say 8 to 10 hours a day at least, Monday through Friday.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
we're doing content. You as well. You got the
Yeah.
editing and the YouTube video. So reselling alone though, still a heavy amount of time. 15-hour sourcing day when I go out of town, and that
That's
includes
right.
drive time. I source that way. But now I have Randy with an I. Randy is my new
Nice.
part-time employee. I've had her
Uh-huh.
for 2.5 weeks now, and she is crushing it. So she's giving me the ability to, like my listings were already done today when I woke up. I just launched them.
So
I'm
nice.
prepping clothes right now. I kind of constantly have to keep right here the rack full of clothes.
Yeah.
So when she comes, I mean, you'd be surprised. They can catch on to taking photos pretty fast, and then you have to keep feeding them because the worst thing you can do is one, mess up their check and their pay, or two, not have any work for them. So those are two
Yep.
things I have to focus on, but it's also giving me a chance to breathe a little bit and get out of the real grunt work of reselling it and focus
Yep.
more on the acquiring of inventory and things like that.
Yeah. Which is the fun part.
Yeah, fun. Yeah.
So, what is like your listing habit look like? Are you really aiming for every day, and kind of how many are you trying to get up?
Yeah, so all of last year was my first, I would consider it my first full year. I guess it was the first full year of full-time reselling. I did 30 items a day for the first 3 months, and then I bumped it to 35 for the rest of the year until November when my son was born. It kind of got a little crazy.
Oh,
I'd
for
do
sure.
5 or 10 items a day, then I'd do 40 or 50 if I had time. Very
Yeah.
difficult. Now, I'm not as focused on hitting 35 exactly every single day. Some days early this year I would do 20 because I just fell behind. I was focusing on YouTube, but then other days I'd hit 40, 50. And then now though, it's with Randy's help, I'm starting to finally see the dividends of her effort she's putting in. For
Uh huh.
example, I had 40 in the draft for today, so I put 35 out. And the
Uh
reason I
huh.
chose that was because I have like 70 photos in my computer ready to list. So I can pump 70 out, you're talking a minute when you have the photos already, a
Yeah.
minute of listing. So I know Saturday, Sunday, I'll have 35 ready. If I had
Nice.
zero, then maybe today I would work on photos and then decide how many to list just based on what, is there anything going on Saturday, Sunday? So yeah, I try to
Uh huh.
do 30 to 40 at least, every day.
Cool. And did you notice any sales difference when you did kind of stop hitting that 30 mark? Did you see any change in your sales or?
Yeah, it's tough to gauge exactly. I mean, eBay, they expect a certain number, they give you the impressions, but the better you get at picking clothes and listing clothes, you're getting better stuff in your store that sells faster. So that first year I was listing 30, 35, but some of those clothes, I mean, like I finally washed through a lot of them, but many of them just
Yeah.
weren't good pickups. So it's like, yeah, you can throw items up there, but if they're not high sell through, high quality,
Yeah.
if people don't want them, it doesn't matter what you list. So whenever I would,
Exactly.
but let's say you have a couple zeros, say you list 0 items for a couple days in a row. That hasn't really happened, but eventually the next days after, like you may see sales that 0 day, but the next couple days, eBay will throttle you a little bit, kind of figuring like,
Yep.
well, if he ain't putting work in, I'm not going to help him. So that,
Exactly.
but when you have a large store, 44,000, I have 4,500 items, 4,600 items,
Yeah.
it doesn't hit as hard if you had like 100 or 200 items,
Exactly.
because there's
Yep.
a lot of items out there that people can buy. And I run sales, I send offers, that all kind of helps too.
For sure. Yeah. Using all the tools eBay gives you. Christy says, "Hey, stranger. It's been a while, but glad to support Taylor and learn about a new reseller channel." Yes. So if you want to see what Sean is all about, I keep thinking your name's Taylor. It's your last name. So Sean has his links in the description. I put his YouTube channel and Instagram, so you could go check it out. A lot of good content, what sold videos, and a good, kind of behind the scenes of what it's really like. So, Nomad Expert says, "It's my first time in here." Well, welcome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in. What made you come in? I don't know. Where did I show up? But appreciate you. If you have questions, let us know. Welcome, Nomad Expert. Yeah. So, like, if someone's just starting out as a reseller, what do you suggest, like, some of the first things that they do before they go all in? Should
Go
they?
all in full time or go in
Yeah.
resell?
Yeah, go in starting a part-time or full-time reselling business. What are some things that they could do in advance to like prepare themselves to be maybe setting their self up for success?
Yeah, first up, I would say binge Bo Johnson's YouTube channel. Start looking at everything he's picking up. It does help looking at YouTube videos. I'm not going to say it doesn't help. I'm just saying like it. My cost of goods might be way lower if you're in California. So like you couldn't be like, well, how's he picking up that Ralph Lauren? They're $15 here. It's like, because I'm buying them for 3 or 4. Like there's a big difference. I think understanding what other people are doing, but not exactly like trying to just match what they're doing in your space. So they go to a thrift store in their area, they find brands you've never heard of, go to your thrift store, start seeing what brands are out there. People say go around your house and sell all your clothes. That's an easy way to do it. Low
Yeah,
cost.
for sure.
You see a shirt you're not wearing, look it up. I guess looking up solds is probably the key to eBay. If somebody asks like what you're doing or how you're doing, I say to open the eBay app, type in an item, put used, and then search it, whatever number's there, filter to solds, try to find if there's a desire, for that item. And that's pretty much the bare bones meat and potatoes of like figuring out what sells. And the way to do that is through the eBay app on the sold listings or Terapeak if you want to get really into the weeds. But yeah, it's tough because I've had people say, I want to start reselling full time. Like, how many racks do I need to buy? Like, what do I need to get? It's like, you don't need any of that. You need to find out how to sell an item on eBay. That's really what it is. And then just repeat and make sure you're not losing money each time.
Yep. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people get excited. They'll watch a couple YouTube videos and they'll go order the racks, the photo setup, shipping Rolo printers, and then they're like, okay, now I'm ready to sell. And then you just spent $3,000 on inventory or on equipment. Not true. You will need it eventually, but not to start. But that slow growth is key. So David says, "I've niched down with jeans and any outdoorsy tech gear I find from the bins." Good. Yeah. We all live in different areas, and people in Florida may find those silk linen blend tops that
Fishing
I
gear.
might not. Yeah. So just kind of get to know what's in your area and maybe think about niching down into those items that maybe I'm not able to find, or because we all just are in different parts of the country. So that's good. So what percentage sell-through rate do you guys suggest comparing used available from used sold? Yeah. So what do you look for when you're maybe not deciding to pick up an item?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's a few different ways to look at it. So if you're very new, I would suggest more sold listings than active listings. I would say that's your safest bet. If you need money quickly, definitely go that route, right? If you have some cash flow, you can spend a few $100 or $1,000 and wait for the money for 6 months. it really changes things. So I guess if I find a shirt, I'm looking for like 25% sell through or more. So if there's,
Uh-huh.
let's just say 40 listed, 10 sold, I have high confidence that mine will be one of the 10. And I'm okay picking up. And I'm also taking less money than the other people are because I have so many more items. Like I don't need to make X amount of dollars per item. Like really, I need to make like 5 or more. My average profit per item is $6.50 of last year, and that was on
Uh-huh.
$188,000 in sales. So
Uh-huh.
think about it like somebody's spending 10 and they're like, well, I need to sell this for 60. Like if I spend 10, I can sell it for 30 and I'm okay.
Yep. Yep.
And they're like, well, you're undercutting the market. I had somebody say they're devaluing the brand. And I'm kind of like, I think that brand is making a lot of money. I don't think my one listing being sold a little lower is going to hurt,
Their
Mr.
stock
Lauren out
dropped.
there. Yeah, Ralph Lauren. I think he's
Sorry,
okay.
Sorry, Ralph.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would never call him Ralph. I'd say Mr. Lauren. But yeah,
Yes.
nonetheless, it's like, so yeah. So the more experience you get,
Yeah.
it's okay. If you find like a lot in the same size, that's a good indicator that somebody will buy multiple. A 511 Tacticals is a great one because a lot of people get into those types of career fields and they may need to buy a whole wardrobe. So they'll buy 4 or 5 pants if they're all the same size, same color. That's like a thing. But maybe the sell through slow. Maybe it's 20%.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of tough. I guess it depends on your money, your time, you're willing to wait, your storage. If you have the space to hold. I mean, Bo's got a massive warehouse. I can hold, maybe a quarter of what he can hold in his. So I need to move him a little quicker. He could probably wait a year or two, but it's just different strokes for different folks is what they say.
Yeah. I think when you're just starting out as a beginner, it's hard to pick up items that are going to take a year to sell because, you kind of want that money to come back and put it back to buy more items is the goal.
It's demoralizing too, to wait a year and you're like, what am I doing wrong? It's like nothing. The item just isn't that desirable.
Exactly. So Miss Lachey says, I agree. You can't copy and paste a successful business. You can learn, but you've got to develop your own unique system. So true. That's the cool part of reselling in general is like there's some key principles, but everyone's different. Some people are early morning people. Some people are night owls. The best part of reselling is as long as you get the work done, do it around your schedule. If you want to take a break every 15 minutes, take a break. Do you. But at the same time, you really need to make sure at the end of the day, did I get the work done? So that's the beauty is like, maybe a system works for someone, but that might not work for you. So, that's the cool part is everyone can head down any different road that they want and still be successful. So you said you did 15-hour sourcing trips. What does that look like? What does your sourcing life look like? Thrift stores, flea markets, bulk purchases. Do you want to just expand upon that?
Sure. I would say if you're going to take on a day like that, your legs will be very tired the first few times. It's a very physical thing. People say, "Oh, I would love to shop all day." It's like, oh, it took some weeks to really handle it. I mean, well, what it is I live, an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And then I also live that same distance from Oklahoma City. Like I live right in between there. And that's where all the money's at. They're populated cities. They make way more money. So that's where all the clothes are at that you can find to resell. So it starts with prepping the day before. I have a list. I have a route that I go on. My strategy was the closest city to me. I would go to all thrift stores the very first day that I went. And I would see, okay, I put plus or minus, like this one had high prices. This one had a lot of items. This one had a little items. This one had cheap prices. This was a good one. I put a star next to this one. Then the next sourcing trip, I'd only go to the starred places and I'd go to the next city. The next city, I did the same strategy and make sure to write it down because you can't really remember. I wrote down addresses, which was important. I tried to understand traffic, like highways where the driving was easier. And eventually after about 3 months of doing that, I had a route of 8 to 10 to 12 stores that I could kind of cycle through. And I would shift my route depending on how long I spent in one store because I knew certain parts of Dallas you want to get out of before school lets out and work lets out, or you'll be stuck and you won't be able to make it to like another county or another city. And that, I leave at, a little before 7 and then I get home at 10:30 to 11. And it's a full day, but that's like a $200 to $2,500 day because of all the items I pick up. And then I can kind of like relax the rest of the week. In my town, I have 2 major thrift stores and then some small ones. And
Uh-huh.
I hit those up on color change discount days. I hit those on, if I just need to get out of the house, I'll go. I'll be like, well, maybe there's a new rack out, and I'm more of a I'm a big seller in this town. Like there's very few people, maybe none, that are doing what I'm doing at
Yeah.
this level. So
Yeah.
it's nice to do that. But yeah, I still have to go. So that's part of that's my sourcing pretty much. Yeah. I don't do
Yeah.
oh yeah, you asked where I go. I don't go to the bins. People always ask.
Uh-huh.
I go just to stores with racks, but I do
Yep.
isolate sales day. There's Thrift Giants in Texas. They're massive stores, and they
Uh-huh.
had 50% off day last week. So like I
Nice.
only went to Thrift Giants. I went to Salvation Army. They do half off days on Wednesdays in Texas. So
Uh-huh.
that's why I chose Wednesday as my sourcing day, because of the half off days. But now I'm starting
Yeah.
to notice that um, there's better stores out there that I'm willing to pay like closer to their full price, just
Uh-huh.
because the quality's better, and it's just a bigger store. So there's a lot of things to consider when you start wanting to get hundreds of items a week, and that's what I found works the best for me.
Yeah. So, do you have a target set amount that you try to hit every week when you go out sourcing? Like, I need to hit 300 items a week,
Yeah.
or do you just kind of just go with the flow?
Yeah, it goes off the listing. So when it was
Hmm.
30 items a day, it's 210.
Yeah.
When I go on my route, I would say anything over like 150 is, I guess average would be 150 to 175. And then if it's over 200, it's a good day. But
Uh-huh.
at the same time, like I'm not picking up certain categories that are not addicting, but they seem like good items. And I would say like Ralph Lauren shorts, chino shorts, pleated shorts. Those can be
Yeah.
good, but if you go too heavy into the wrong sizes, they're not going to move fast. And I used to that's when I first started and didn't know the clothes as well. I would buy everything like that, and then I
Yeah.
realized, man, these aren't really selling as fast. So it's
Yep.
it's it's a little different, and I'm okay not trying to max effort items, but the items I am picking up, I know are winners. Like they're all going to sell within the time frame, like 6 months or less is kind of what I try to hit,
Yeah.
and that's just part of it. So I don't stress out. Say I only get like 150 items, and I'm like, well, that's not a lot. I'll just do it a sourcing trip, maybe in Oklahoma, or like a half day trip or something, to get that
Yep.
extra little bit, or just dive deeper into the stores in town, which, um, it's doable. And I have a deal with a thrift store in town here where I get items discounted. And then I have one in Oklahoma where I trade inventory. They like certain jeans, not
Nice. Uh-huh.
necessarily like brand name, but size specific,
Uh-huh.
smaller jeans. So like I'll find those for $1 or $3, and then they hold items for me, and then I can like kind of trade and
Nice.
negotiate like that. And it's not something that it's not like what I rely on, but it's just a nice thing to have whenever you're
Yeah.
like in a pinch. You're like, oh, let me see if they got anything, and I'll you know just kind of trade,
Yep.
barter. But yeah.
That's good. Good stuff. Yeah. So, getting back into the chat, Tifilio. Hopefully, I said that right. Probably not. But where can I find the list of prohibited items to sell new in case I find at a yard sale? Wah wah. Yeah.
No, no.
So, prohibited items. Well, that's kind of black and white. It's really, there's the Vero, and any brand can they can really they can do a Vero on you. Like you could get a Vero for Levi's new with tags for shipping to Europe. You could get a Vero for anything that's inauthentic. So any bootleg items. That's why you really got to pay attention to like jerseys, sports teams.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff is bootleg. The Gucci, the Louis Vuitton. So stuff like that. Stuff that's you really want to pay attention to like stitching, the tag. I just say when you start building a business specifically on eBay, you don't really want to be putting your account at risk by, picking up these items that seem too good to be true. So if it seems too good to be true,
That's a great
you
way to
may
put
want
it.
to, yeah, you want to, there's apps out there, Check app. You could download it where you just take pictures of the tag, the stitching, send it over on the phone, and they can help you verify. Or you can also do the Real, which is a consignment company where you buy those items that are in question, send it to them. They'll ship you out a label, or they'll have a prepaid label for you, and then you send it to them for free and give them a couple weeks, and they'll make sure if it's authentic or not. But yeah, just be cautious of that. What would you have to say about that? It's kind of a gray
Yeah,
area, I
sure.
guess.
I misread it. I thought you wanted to sell prohibited items that you found at yard sales, but you said in case you find them, so you don't want
Yeah.
to get in trouble. My suggestion would be not to sell it on eBay. Sell it on Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. Too good to be true is exactly what I was thinking when Bo was speaking about some of the things he thinks about. And yeah, I when in doubt, like leave it out. Just don't put it in. Don't sell it on
Yeah.
eBay. There's plenty of other ways you can sell it, and yeah. But the tough thing is like say you sell one of those brands like Viore tends to like knock people. You find the sell through, it's great. You do see sales and you get it.
Yep.
It's gonna happen. Like I got one for selling FedEx uniform
Yep.
top polos because I guess they either just got a federal contract, but you cannot sell
Uh-huh.
uniforms that are current, and you can look at that as like active duty military gear you cannot
Yep.
sell. I do list some in collectibles for the ACU pants. Those are the tan. They're not digital camo. They're called ACU Airman or
Uh-huh.
combat uniform or whatever it is. And I do list that as a collectible. So that's kind of a risk I take, but like everyone has their own risk tolerance. But yeah, I'm just saying if you do get hit for one, don't feel like don't be afraid, but just know like, okay, you got to be a little more cautious. And it's not like they're going to ban you for one thing. I don't think it's trying to do that.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure they have trust from the brand. So the brand doesn't pull their items off of eBay, which they wouldn't do either because, they're making a lot of money too. So.
Yeah. And in the end, when it comes down to it, it's just not worth the risk if you're actually trying to build a big business on eBay. So Brian says, agreed, Devin. If you're new, try to get to 100% sell-through rate. Once you get better and grow, you can then lower it. Yep. That's exactly right. So Brian also says, and that's 100% per quarter, not per month. Exactly. Yeah. Per the 90 days.
Yeah.
Yep. Brian also says, Tifolio, the list doesn't help much. It's all about learning from other sellers, which companies Vero them. Technically, almost everything is a Vero, but they just don't act on it. Exactly. Yep. It's always constantly changing on what brand is actually going to go after you. So Avalon Dreaming says, glad I don't have that problem. My work is 5 minutes away from the Dallas Goodwill bins. Nice. And Devin says, only Vero I've gotten is from using their photo from my listing. Okay. Interesting.
Stock photos. Yeah.
Yep. Right on. So looking towards the future, I know it's kind of hard to predict, but where do you see your reselling business maybe in the next couple of years?
Okay, I'll tell what my business plan is right now because I'm going to start making more videos about it. But I recently hired employee Randy. She's doing excellent. I secured a spot downtown. It's off of like a main street, and it's a bank building that was converted to a bunch of offices. And essentially, what it is, it's on the first floor, so it has access from not the middle of the bank, but the side where the parking garage is, which is right off the main street. And my goal is to create a Plato's Closet in my town. It'll be much smaller, but I'm trying to do this because I want to get the public's town or get the public's clothes from town before they donate it. So I'm going to pay out 10, 20, 30, $40 for their clothes. And then I'm going to take all of it. And then I'm going to list those on eBay. And then some of the items that I acquire in the Metroplex in Oklahoma City that are like, you guys have seen the prices of button ups be like 10, 12, $15. I'm going to buy those if they're good quality. And if it's what the town wants, I'm going to sell those for $10 more in person. So I'll probably profit, let's say like $8, $9 on those. And that's going to be the idea. I'm also going to set that up as like what I have in my bedroom here. My lister is going to list there. There'll be a computer there, and then there'll be a few racks of clothes to sell in person, but mainly to buy people's clothes. So I'm going to start focusing my marketing on content in my town and try to build that up. Try to let everybody know because we do not have a place to sell men's clothes. There's one men's consignment store, and they're not very strong in my opinion. And I think it's a major hole in this market that I'm going to be able to capitalize on.
100%. And it's really cool that you say that because I have a friend doing the same thing in a same kind of similar sized town in Eugene where it's 100,000 people.
I had a friend who lived in Eugene.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I
He
love it
was a
there.
marijuana farmer. He's
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
that's
great.
about what that's usually the culture. But I really love it. The culture there and the college town is really attracted to what my friend's doing, and exactly what you're trying to set up is like they're trying to create where he's more of the vintage kind of reseller,
Oh, okay.
and the foot traffic has been crazy.
Mm.
It's gotten word of mouth. Some TikTokers have come in there, and now it's really spread. So I could see that happening for you, especially if no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
Be unique. So that's gonna be good. It'll be cool to see what content comes from that too.
Mm.
So let's see. Oh man, I'm way behind. Uh, okay, so okay, Miss Lachey, you say great strategy won your sourcing route. Yes,
On your sourcing route.
yeah,
Yeah.
on exactly.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. And Devin says I'm at 912 active and 700 sold in the last 90 days. Pretty cool. But really have had to drop prices to keep a decent store sell-through rate. It really is all about the quality of items, 100%.
Mm. That's good
And
though.
congratulations. That's a really good sell-through rate, especially once you start getting a little higher. Devin says only Vero I've gotten is from. Yep. Oh, sorry, went already through that. So Brian says, "Yep, no stock photos." And thank you. I appreciate the super sticker. That's awesome. Thanks for
Wow.
coming in
Yeah.
and watching. So, so you touched on the future. That's where you want to go. That's really cool, and it's going to inspire others to maybe try to experiment doing the same thing. What are some of your best flips thus far?
Oh wow.
What can you recall as like, wow, I paid $1 and I made eight
Yeah.
hundred grand? No, what
Yeah.
was some of
Yeah.
your best flips?
I can tell you if I made 800 grand on one flip, I wouldn't be on this live. No,
See ya.
it'd be crazy. I have a couple. So one of the
Uh-huh.
best ones, I can't really take credit for. I was in a thrift store and there was a gentleman who he sold like rings from. He did like retail arbitrage on rings from Kohl's and would sell them, and then he bought like certain vintage items. So he
Uh-huh.
found one of those scanner guns for the department stores or for like Walmart, and they
Mhm.
have a micro SD in it. It's not the ones that you see at the checkout. It's the ones that you see the people doing stock inventory. And he handed it
Mhm.
to me and said, "Hey, man, this is probably expensive. I don't want to mess with it because I don't want to deal with the return." So I listed
Uh-huh.
it for 149.99, and then somebody messaged me saying, like, "Is this broken? Is there a mistake? These go brand new for like 1,100 or something like that." So then I quickly changed the price to
Oh yeah.
399, and then
Yeah.
he sent a different guy sent an offer of 350. So that was
Uh-huh.
$3 into 350. One of my
Nice.
bigger ones though, whenever I didn't fully get into clothes yet, I was still doing hard goods. I would go to pawn
Uh-huh.
shops and look for items, which that's a pretty good arbitrage, but you have to pay up. So I paid $125 for this. Um, it's a type of laser. It's not like a site level laser. It was more of a handheld laser for surveyors and people that are, trying to like figure out plots of land to develop on. And that sold for 550. So that was 125 to 550, and that sold in like a day or two. So those were two of the bigger ones. And then most recently, I sold a Robert Graham limited edition shirt that I found at my Goodwill. And it was new with tags. It was black and blue paisley. Some of my more recent videos, probably like the last what sold video, and that sold for 300. I took an offer, so $5 into 300 on a shirt, and they sell brand new for 500. So I listed it,
Uh-huh.
accepted the three because anything over like 250, I was going to accept, and I was really happy about that. But yeah, Kurt Cobain shirt, $3 into 200, and that sold real fast to a guy who had a
Ooh,
vintage shop, but it wasn't like the
nice.
$600 one. There's a couple Kurt Cobains that go for more.
Yeah.
But yeah, my average sale price is $21. Do not hear those numbers and think I'm selling that. That's within since 2019. That's the kind of big hits I can remember.
Th- That's good. Those are some good ones.
Yeah, it's always
And
exciting. Yeah.
yeah, it is. That's the beautiful part of really keeps it interesting when you go out sourcing. We all love to source, and you really got to have fun when you get into this business, and that's really for me that's what makes it fun. You never know what you're gonna find. So Devin says only Vero I've gotten. Yes. Oh man, I think I'm on repeat mode like a broken record.
Yeah.
So Miss Lachey, a new comment here. So Sean, do you have any nearby colleges?
So I live in Wichita Falls, Texas. We have a Division II college. It's Midwestern State University, and then we have Shepherd Air Force Base. So there's a good flow of like young people, but there are a couple vintage guys in town. There's a sneaker guy and two that do clothes, and I'm the only one doing like men's modern in this town, and then a lot of the other resellers do a variety of country wear, boots, shoes, things like that. But that is the only college. There's also Vernon College, which is like it's in Vernon, but they have an extension here in Wichita Falls. So, yeah.
Nice. Headphones died, so we'll
Oh man,
go with
go
that.
on.
But yeah. So just rounding out the last question. In terms of like growth of your business, what's your goal with it? Like, how big do you want this thing to become?
Yeah. I think the thing with eBay is the bigger and bigger you get, the more and more headaches you get, and the more work it is. So after hiring this one employee, maybe I got really lucky. But if I found more people that were as efficient as her, the one advantage I have in my town is cost of space. So it's not out of the realm of having like a massive eBay store, but I think there's easier ways to make money. So I would say if I could get to a place where I had a full-time employee making like, let's say 40 grand a year,
Uh-huh.
and then maybe I made like 80 off of eBay, then that would be okay. And then I'd want to do another business or two to make maybe, 20, 30, 40. Like, YouTube's great and there's definitely money to be made, but um, I only like to do so much of one thing. I did so much eBay because I really disliked some of the other jobs I did, and it's low impact on the body. And then the other thing is, I think the future, everything is always changing. So I think video editing, AI, like just helping other people sell stuff. There's just a lot of things out there that I'm getting interested in, and a lot of that has to do with not working a traditional job and having time to sit and think.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to Brian about this. Brian Roning's a good friend, and I was saying like it's interesting when you get out of the 9 to 5 and you have time to like, okay, like right now, I'm obviously on this live, which I wouldn't be able to do before, but maybe when I'm driving to lunch or whatever, I can just kind of think about growth and think of new ideas rather than thinking I got to get back to clock in an hour. It's a different feel. So just starting to like kind of open up what I want. But yeah, I would say maybe a 10,000 item store, and see a lot of this hinges on if I'm making more sales in person, then I'm going to start focusing on buying those items for those customers if the profit is quicker and more. If it's not working, but I'm getting a lot of items coming to me, then yeah, maybe I'll go 15,000 items and get a bigger warehouse and
Right.
get out of my garage and things like that. So there's a lot of variables. Right now I'm just trying to continually improve and make sure that I'm not regressing or I don't want to say blowing my load, but like spending too much and not
Yeah.
making it, because you can do that pretty easily.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love there's so many different ways, but I'm using eBay as well as to kind of get me to just start multiple businesses. So because that next step, you probably have experienced this too, is like the next step is going to require like a warehouse, a couple employees, more sourcing. So how far do you want to go with that? You can really go as far as you want, but do you want to do that with the effort that it takes to
Exactly.
manage it all?
Exactly. How many clothes do you want to look through a day?
Yeah.
Because then
So
you become a quality control, unless you can hire that out, but it's very difficult because they have not sold as many items personally as you have. So
Yep.
if you try to say, hey, I need you to go source items for me, like good luck getting those.
Yeah, I brought back this Morona. You said it was good.
It knew with tags. You're like, well, you
Yeah.
spent 10 on it. Like,
I bought it at Walmart. So Devin says, do you guys take vacation, or how's your work-life balance when trying to grow the business?
okay, great question. Do you want to take this one first? You want me to?
Yeah, so recently I just hired a lister, so I can have a little bit more of my time back. But, if I'm ever thinking about taking a vacation, I'm going to work harder, than normal to be able to build up a draft bank so I can launch those listings while I'm out for a couple days. So that's the beauty of eBay, is that you could always prepare for things that you know that are going to happen. And it's always good to at least have maybe some type of draft bank of a couple days of case of emergency. So hiring this lister helped me be able to get about 2 to 3 hours of my day back, and being able to focus on other parts of the business and sourcing. So I kind of was going insane a little bit doing the listings every day for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And that got me to the point of like, I'm now really ready to almost pay anything to get that time back. And it took a month of training this person to get it how, all dialed in. So that's now my vacation of like, now I can have someone list for me, so I can at least have a little bit more of my time back. And if I'm ever thinking about taking time off, I'll just have the listers do the listings. Now I just got to make sure I have the photos done. So, yep. How about you?
Yeah, so I've done a few week-long trips. My cousin got married. They had their wedding. They already married, but they had that in Nashville. So that was a week. And the way I did was I tried to build the drafts. I didn't have a lot.
Uh-huh.
It does take quite a bit to do that, to front load that work. And I kind of just said I'll put the store in vacation mode. I will launch, but I'm going to launch the drafts. I mean, but I'm going to enjoy the time, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't just work 24/7. Some people can. I don't really want to. If I'm taking like a 3-day trip with my wife, or we go to like some zoos or drive around, like I'll put my store in vacation mode for a day. I'll try to put items out, but if I don't get them, I'm not too worried about it. When you have a bigger store, you can absorb more hits as far as low listing days,
Yep.
because like we said before, like you're still going to sell stuff. And then the other part of that question was like work life. I guess I could say like when I wake up until my wife takes my son to daycare, I'm in full dad mode. I do everything I can to make it as easy as process for her to get, out the door with him. And then when she comes home at like 5:30 till 8, I'm full on dad mode and I do
Yeah.
everything I can. And then from 8 to 11, I actually work in my office. That's
Nice.
a really good time to get a lot of work done because they're, winding down and going, doing the bath time and going to bed.
Yeah.
And then I can either pump out listings like these 60 that I mentioned. I can knock that out really fast tonight. And that's why I'm not even stressed about doing them, because I feel like my brain power in the morning and afternoon is at its highest. And then
Yeah.
at night, I can do more of the autopilot type stuff, which when you've listed and sold 20, 17, 20,000
Yeah.
items, like you know exactly what click, where it
Yeah.
is, what to price it at. That's a big thing. There's
Yep.
very few items I have to look up the price,
Yeah.
because even if I don't really know what it is, if it's not something that's a, 50 plus, I'll just put it like $30, $40. Like I
Right.
don't really care at
Yeah.
this point, because it's about,
Speed,
it's just about
efficiency.
moving it through. It's going to sell, for something,
Yeah.
and you're not going to lose money. So yeah, I have hours blocked off, and my wife knows that, and she wants to set up like a date night, because now my son's getting old enough to where grandparents can watch him and not be
Nice.
afraid of him freaking out, like
Yeah.
without, milking her and stuff. But so we're
That's
going to
cool.
incorporate that. And, you just got to set rules. You got to tell your partner
Yep.
or whoever, or even yourself, say you're by
Yeah.
yourself. You need to say, hey, from this hour, I'm going to work. And then from this hour, I'm going to play Fortnite, or I'm going to go, go
Yeah.
hang out with some friends, or
Yeah.
just do something, because it will absolutely consume you.
Yeah.
Because it's addicting to make money this easily. But it's something everyone can do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I found for the life balance was block schedules. So like the 6 to 9 block is my photos listing, and then 9 to 11 is shipping. And then basically I just take the middle of the day off to really spend time with my family, because that's why I wake up every morning, is just to really enjoy the kids growing up, going to the park, enjoy life. You really do. No one's going to remember you for, oh, this person did 800,000 eBay listings on his tombstone, but they will remember you for the time that you give people, listening, loving, being, kind of looking back on my life. That's what I kind of want to be remembered as, is like, yeah, I worked, but I did spend time with the people that are around me. And yeah, you said it right. eBay can be addicting because you see the money coming in, but you also have to pause for a minute and go, well, what's really important when I look back on my life? And so that's how I kind of saw it. That's what kind of made me make this change with hiring someone, and just get a little more time back. So jumping back into it, TO, what do you think of cross-listing apps, List Perfectly, etc. Do you think it's worth it? I don't. I don't use List Perfectly. I don't cross list. For me, I believe eBay is substantially more with more active buyers, more market cap going through. So I stick with eBay, but everyone can make their own choice. What do you kind of recommend on that side? And are you just on eBay only?
Yeah, I sell only on eBay.
Uh-huh.
I was reached out to by Vendu to kind of run ads for him, but I told him pretty much what Bo said. I'm not doing the other platforms. However, they are in development of an automatic delist tool. So if you list on eBay and Poshmark and you sell one on eBay, it'll automatically delist. Or if
Cool.
it's sold on Poshmark, they'll automatically delist from eBay so it doesn't double sell.
Yeah.
I did think that was a pretty interesting thing. However, I would only want to be a Poshmark seller to gain access to Posh events to meet
Uh,
other resellers
yeah.
for YouTube purposes, which is totally selfish. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, there's certain items that can do well on other platforms. That's why Depop exists and things like that.
Yep.
So, I if you run with higher value items that you want the highest end buyer, like
Uh-huh.
they're gonna find it on whatever platform, but they may find it faster on a Depop or a Poshmark. But those guys that the high end collectors of things, if you're in that high end market, they're gonna be sourcing everywhere. So
Yep.
yeah, you probably be okay, but I do think the listing platforms are getting a little better, and I do think there'll be a maybe like an AI of sorts that can help with listing, and I think
Oh, yeah.
that is on the
It's
horizon
coming
with Google Lens and Chat GPT. Just the way things are
with
quickly
the internet.
analyzing a
Yeah.
shirt and all that. So there's a lot. I would say yeah, you could try it. Well, why not? I mean, there's a lot of discounts on it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you're trying to go full time, I would focus full efforts in one platform, whichever one it is, and kind of make some money before you just start spending money on courses and things like that. It's really tough to balance the cash flow when you're
Yep.
spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well said. So Sal says, do you still get sales when your store is in vacation mode?
Absolutely, yeah. So the thing about it is, if you turn vacation mode on the day you're walking out your door, if you have outstanding offers on items, those sell, you're expected to ship them. So you want to plan ahead and make sure everything is cleared out of your queue. And I think for mine, it's 4 days. If they don't pay, it'll auto cancel and
Uh-huh.
relist. So
Uh-huh.
4 days ahead, you turn on vacation mode. If you have, let's just say, for example, on mine, my graph pretty much just like it just kind of went down. So the first day I was on vacation, about the same sales. It kind of trickled down because I think I was listing like slightly less items each day, even. I don't really remember, but it was
Uh-huh.
slowly less sales. But then I had one random good sales day while I was on
That's
vacation. So it's very hard to do. But yeah, you'll make less sales, but you will sell items if you have enough.
yeah.
We're talking like a few hundred maybe. You'll probably
Yeah.
be okay.
And for you, are you still launching drafts while you're on vacation, or do you just completely
Yeah, I think I
quit
took a
that?
5 or 6 day vacation, but I only had like 97 or I had like 115 drafts. So I couldn't do 30 each day. I just did like 30, 30. And then I was like, oh, shoot, I need to start divvying these out like 20, 20. So I do try to put them out. But now, like, if it's a spur of the moment thing and I didn't front load the work, well, now it's different because I have an employee. So I definitely have drafts available. But yeah, I don't stress too much about it, but my financial situation may be different than yours. So
Yeah.
um, I would suggest if you don't have money to go on vacation, don't go because don't rely on eBay to get you that money. It may not
Yeah.
work.
All right, making $10 going to
Oh yeah, I was
Vegas.
going to say too,
I'm
the
done.
shipping is
Yeah.
delayed. So when people see an item that is 2 weeks out or a week out, they
Yeah.
may not buy. So that is a way you can lose sales because people just don't want to wait.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to wait for stuff. So
Yeah. 9 to 12 business days.
okay.
Jeff says, how much y'all make on YouTube?
I
Well,
make
yeah,
you know
go ahead.
well, I was going to say I make a little more than Bo just because you could just look at it as $10 per thousand views.
Yeah,
So I mean,
exactly. Yep.
I may make a video about it later, but I haven't really made like I mean, I've made some money, like hundreds of dollars, but it's
Yeah.
not like I'm not on that Harry Tornado money. Like the dude's probably making a quarter million if you guys want
Yeah.
perspective. But
Yeah.
most people on YouTube are making like anywhere from tens of dollars to like a few $100. Very few are making over 20 grand a year on YouTube. But then I have heard of some make not Harry Torino, but like some have made $4, $6, $12,000. If you have a million view video, you can expect about 5K.
Yeah.
So look
Just
at it
off
like that.
the
Just
views,
just
right?
just AdSense.
Yeah,
That's
just
just whenever you
AdSense.
guys see skip for 5 seconds, if you click on that skip, then we make X amount, whatever percentage of a cent it is. It's very low. But if you
Yeah.
watch the full ad through, then we make more money. If you're a YouTube Premium member, you make
Yeah.
more money. So you want those types of viewers. And then if you buy the ad that's actually displayed, I think you get some type of a compensation.
Uh-huh.
And then, but yeah, I mean, it's not as much as eBay,
Yeah.
but it's better than TikTok. So let's just say that.
Yeah, and also the shorts, you could get 20 million views on a short and you'll make 5 cents. So
Yeah,
there's
the
that
shorts
for you.
are yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, so Brian, you say sales still come in on vacation mode. The longer the vacation, the less likely they come in. Yep, for sure. So, thanks for coming on. Where can people like reach out to you if they would just have a question or maybe they want to just pick your brain about something? Where's the best platform to reach you on?
for sure, for sure. So Instagram, Taylor Exchange on Instagram. It's linked in my YouTube videos. You'll find my YouTube videos through YouTube with Taylor Exchange or just Google Taylor Exchange.
Uh-huh.
If you want like a direct answer to a question, just DM me on Instagram and I'll get to it when I can. And
Uh-huh.
then I even do like short video clips for people. So if you're like, hey, where do I find this? I'll do a 10 or 30-second video and shoot it your way. That's probably the best way to reach me is
Nice.
Instagram.
Yeah, everything's in the description if you guys want to connect with him, YouTube or Instagram. Last question. So Stepmo says, I will be out of the country for 1 month. Any advice on vacation mode or open store, but 30 days plus to ship? So I believe vacation mode, time away mode is just up to 21 days. Is
That's
that
right.
right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So you might want to do a little bit of both of extending your handling time and then do vacation mode. So extending
There
your
you go.
handling time, I think, is 8 business days. And
Oh,
then
that's
you'd
good.
want, yeah. So you'd probably
21
want to,
days. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a tricky one for 30 days. You know, if you still want to get sales, you're probably going to want to use both of those in combination. But yeah, we'd hate for you to like just shut down the store and not get any sales. So extend your handling time and then hit up time away mode would be the best bet. But yeah, what would you suggest?
Man, a 30-day vacation. I would suggest just enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
That's a rare thing, man. I mean, I haven't been able to take more than a week and a half, it seems like, in my adult life. So um, I think Bo's right with I wouldn't push it too close. That's a lot of days.
yeah,
I would probably shut it down the first half, and then when the vacation kind of tires, maybe just open it back up and do the
yeah,
extended days. Just because, it's just money, right? Like as long as you're not going to lose your house. I mean, I would just kind of enjoy your trip, man, and then
for
open
sure.
it back up towards the end when you want to recharge.
Yeah,
And I would give yourself a number of days when you come back, because if you're not used to shipping 100 items, I can tell you firsthand, if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to crush you, and you'll be late, and you're gonna have a tough day. So yeah, if you're expecting a lot of sales, give yourself another day just for shipping.
yeah. It's like welcome back, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So, no,
well, I appreciate your time. If you guys want to follow him, check out link description. Go watch his videos and learn something. So I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend and be blessed. Take care.
yeah. Thanks for having me on, Bo. I really appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.
See ya.